Alright, welcome everybody. So, back from the previous KC tool unboxing, I talked about these chrome plated pliers. And the reasons I got them is really just for working outdoors in bad weather. That's really the primary reason. And some people were wondering, well, can't you just use these? Yeah, I mean, you can definitely use these when it's raining outside. But you have to be very stringent about oiling them afterwards. And I'm not talking about just being outside in general. I'm talking about, like, torrential downpour, trying to use these. So really what inspired me to do that was actually this hammer right here. So the story behind this, I had this in my car and I had an emergency repair I had to do, and it was basically a torrential downpour, and I don't even remember if I actually used the hammer. I may have just set it down on the ground. So yeah, it definitely got very wet. And I thought I wiped it down with a rag, but apparently this is all it took. So, like, basically, I think it was only a couple days later I noticed all the rust on here. And this is not really indicative of the quality of this Ghidorah hammer. I think this would have happened to really any hammer, because hammers don't typically have any type of plating on them, because as soon as you use them, the plating would be knocked off. So I think what I'm going to do is soak this in some Evapo-Rust for a while and see if we can remove this surface rust. So normally I would try to take the handle off, but this doesn't have the Rot Band style handle. Unless I want to ruin the handle and buy a new one, I think I'm just going to leave it on. So the wood's definitely going to swell, but hopefully it won't crack too much when it dries out. Alrighty, so we'll let that soak for a day or so, and then we'll see how it looks after that. So it's been about, I'd say, at least 8 hours had this soaking. So let's take a look and see if it got all the rust off. So generally what you got to do is just kind of scrub it down a little bit. So yeah, that really just was a little bit of surface rust. No big deal. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to let the wood here dry out. It's probably pretty swollen right now. Because this is the end grain, I'm sure it's soaked in a lot of water in there. So we'll let that dry out, and then we'll come back and oil this. So I've let the wood dry out, and as you can see, there's some cracking in here, and that's sort of what I expected, because as it expanded it had nowhere to go, so it's gonna crack as it shrinks. But it seems like it's still on there pretty solid. So, and you can get replacement handles for this if I ever need to. So it does look like this is painted. I thought at first this was some kind of black oxide finish, but it looks like, from what I could see, it's paint. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to take some really fine sandpaper and kind of feather in those places where the paint has chipped away due to the corrosion, just to smooth it up a bit. More so on this side. The Evapo-Rust actually will darken the metal quite a bit. So what I think I'm going to do, just going to lightly sand the surface here. Probably don't even need to do this step. I'm going to use a little bit of alcohol to remove any of that sanding dust. And then finally, we'll do what I should have done when I had this out in the rain, which was oil it. This is just some ballast oil. Pretty much any any oil will do just fine. So really, all that was just a little bit of surface rust. It doesn't look like it does any real damage to the hammer. But I thought I would just share that with you guys if you were wondering why I'm always oiling my tools. That's pretty much the reason. Alright, well, that's going to wrap it up for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and I'll catch you guys next time.